Hello, I'm Tim Grayson. I'm an Episcopal priest and I'm a trustee of Listening Hearts Ministries. You know, we see signs of God's creative and powerful presence everywhere in nature. But it's when we are faced with one of life's important decisions that we really need God's guidance. If we feel a certain uncertainty or restlessness about a decision, it may be that God is calling us to do something entirely new. That process of seeking God's guidance is known as spiritual discernment, and that is the fundamental ministry of Listening Hearts. Our founder, Suzanne Farnham, knows very well those feelings of uncertainty and restlessness that began her search and her entry into God's guidance.
I had no idea I was founding anything. All I was trying to do was to find God's path for the next phase of my life. Now, in most Quaker meetings, if you're wrestling with a situation and you'd like some help, you can ask for a clearness committee, and you'll be given a group of people who will sit with you Quaker style and help you develop clarity. All of the spiritual classics have information about discernment in them, but they don't necessarily use that term. So you cannot do a word search. My thought was, if you weave the wisdom from the spiritual literature into the Quaker model, you'd have a solid resource. I made a list of books, recruited about 40 readers, asked them to scour the books, each person one book, looking for the themes of call, ministry, discernment, and community, and to highlight everything they could find related to those four themes according to a color-coded scheme. A small group then met weekly to collate the highlighted information and also to practice the principles we were studying: centered silence, prayerful listening, and consensus. The objective was to draw up guidelines for a discernment group. Eventually it hit us that we had the makings of a book. And from that point on, over time, things simply unfolded. Each book led to the next. One program led to another. Then, the birth of the internet brought forth the need for a website, and later on, for online resources. And so, here we are, close to 30 years later, still going strong.
As well as the books published by Listening Hearts, the organization also produces many other print and online resources to help those who want to learn more about spiritual discernment. But of course, its greatest resource is its staff.
I have the great joy of spending my time with individuals, leaders in churches and dioceses and synods, listening to their stories and helping them find ways to make themselves and their organizations more open to the guidance of the Holy Spirit. Our signature program is the Training Week for Trainers, and many churches have benefited from having the ministry of the groups trained by us. Listening Hearts has a rich toolbox, and we can make any of our programs fit the needs of the client. We also have a retreat based on our book, Grounded in God. It's a retreat for decision-making bodies where they learn the principles of spiritual consensus. And it changes the culture of the body so that rather than voting and a culture of winners and losers, they become a body with a culture of following God's guidance.
When I first encountered Listening Hearts, I was a new Christian who had grown up unchurched and spent 3 years as a practicing Tibetan Buddhist. So at that time, I was really passionate about two things. One was discovering Christian practices that reminded me of the meditation and contemplation that I practiced as a Buddhist. And the other was discerning my own personal call to ministry. And Listening Hearts seemed to combine both of these aspects. And once I had the opportunity to try a few Listening Hearts practices, I was immediately convinced that it had great value both for me and for others. These days, my main ministry context is in what's called the emerging church, and I'm a part of a small community made up of mostly people in our 20s, 30s, and 40s who haven't really fit into traditional church contexts. And we're constantly reinventing how we do worship, missional service, leadership, community, all of these things. And I have friends in a broad diversity of other small communities who are always trying to do the same things. And it seems to me that in this context of constant change, my friends in these emerging church communities need to hear the voice of the Spirit more than anyone. And that's why I'm really excited to do what I can to help bring Listening Hearts wisdom to my friends in this context.
Well, I hope that this brief video clip has piqued your interest in Listening Hearts Ministries, and in particular in spiritual discernment, the way in which you can access God's guidance for those important decisions you face in your life, and to do it with the help of trained discerners. If you are interested in receiving more information, please know that we at Listening Hearts Ministries are more than happy to help you. Thank you.